Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Of course, I'm your host, BMR, located in Studio B from the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. Is my lovely host, Krista. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Share it out. Subscribe, give a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Thank you so much. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, KPNL Radio. Thank you to the lovely Selene for that. And you can find us wherever podcasts are found. If you like and want to help support the channel, of course, the super chat is open. I already saw No gave a super chat. Thank you ever so much, No, for that. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all social media platforms. You can also find those on the About page for Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thank you so much. Speaking of what we got going on throughout the week, we've always got a jam-packed week with my YouTube affiliates and friends. Of course, on Mondays is Texas Front Porch. You can find Tex at 9 o'clock in the East with the lovely Brandy. 9 o'clock in the East, Texas Front Porch. Tuesdays, Van Buren Variety. You can find Bobby at 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, 9 o'clock in the East, also on Tuesday nights. The Diva Dimension with Texas Front Porch, 9 o'clock Eastern with Danielle Diva on Texas Front Porch. Again, check her out. Thursdays, Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East with Krista. Tonight's, of course, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. They come on at 9 o'clock in the East on Thursday night. And you guys, if you need a little more woo with the booze, we got the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast Friday nights. They come on, of course, at 9. Saturday, if you like true crime, Tex has a show called Infamous Minds. You can find Tex at 3 in the East on Saturday, along with Miss Diva. Go check out the Diva and Tex. And don't forget Jessica Jones, my great buddy, Saturdays and Sundays on Spaced Out Radio, 10 in the East. She is, of course, the Cryptid Huntress. You can find her twice during the week on her channel. Go check her out. We got a great show with Anthony Esemplare. Subscribe to his channel, Unidentified S4. I can't talk today, you guys. I'm so excited and geeked for this show. Unidentified S4 on YouTube. Fantastic show. He does UFOs, aliens, and he also does Bigfoot. In fact, tonight we're going to be talking about Suburban Sasquatch, his new film coming out. I can't wait to get into that. And of course, I've got to always throw up my book. Thanks for everybody who's purchased it. Bigfoot Michigan Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters, book 1. Again, it's found on Amazon. The link is in my channel. Go check it out. Thanks to all of you that have purchased it. And if you do have the book, if you've bought the book, or if you plan on buying it, when Amazon sends you the review, give an honest review. The more reviews I get, it's like anything these days, analytics, they'll push sales of the book with the more reviews you lead, even if they are, unsatisfactory. But right now, I've got 5 stars. I plan to keep it rolling with that. So to get the show started here, I'm going to bring up the lovely Krista. Hey, girl. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing wonderful.
Thank you ever so much. We got an exciting show going on today.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to bring Anthony's got a great show. Again, Unidentified S4. He talks about everything. He's expanding, kind of like our channels, Chris. Yeah. So we don't just talk paranormal, we talk cryptids, right. We talk ufology, aliens. We're branching out because everybody that is into unknown phenomenon, we all have that common bond. Right. So I'm very appreciative of what he does and what you do, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
A quick shout out to A Spiritual Odyssey also for that super chat.
Yes, I'm trying to catch up with all this. As I started the show, I saw that, a nice super chat from Spiritual Odyssey. Thank you, No, for your super chat. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to fire up this one here. Great way to start the show.
Absolutely.
And I can't think of having a better guest on.
Yep.
To end the month. with
Mhm.
Mr. Anthony. So I'm going to
Yeah.
bring up Anthony right now. Make sure he's ready. Make sure his hair's all coiffed. You got that smile going. Hey,
What's
buddy.
up, everybody? How are you? Great to be here.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, because you are a busy day, Anthony. You're a filmmaker, a YouTuber, you know, well, yeah, you got something going on, which we're going to get into here today. And, but yeah, you got it all going on. You're busy. You know, I
Mhm.
even think that you do part-time work for the fire department. Do you not? Or am I incorrect with that statement?
I was a volunteer firefighter for about 13 years.
Wow.
No longer now. No longer. I'm done.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service. I know that you live in New York, and of course, we all kind of reflect on the things that happened with you. I think Tex had you on
Yeah.
for the 9/11 show, and that was fascinating. If you guys haven't checked
Mhm.
that out, go check out Tex and Anthony,
That's great.
and of course, Brandy. It was a great show.
Mhm. Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, so again, thanks for coming on, and we're going to get right into this because I like to promote friends of mine, and I like to promote good channels and good people, and again, you're a novice in the filmmaking,
Mhm.
and Suburban Sasquatch. Now, when I think about that, I'm thinking about Sasquatch in the city. I'm thinking Sasquatch is all around. I'm a believer that Sasquatch is anywhere, whether you live in the woods, the
Mhm.
city, or otherwise. So, what gave you the idea to get started to put together this?
Well, first, allow me to say a big thanks to Mike, Long Island Bigfoot, who I've been working with for quite some time now. And Suburban Sasquatch, the title itself, belonged to Long Island Bigfoot. That was like a project name that he was sitting on for quite some time. And then it hit me that we're working in Long Island, which is one of the 5 boroughs. If we did a documentary, Suburban Sasquatch would fit if we
Mhm.
Long Island in the mix, being that it's New York City. So Suburban Sasquatch, Long Island, New York City, it just all clicked. And the whole reasoning behind this documentary is to put forth the idea that Sasquatch could be an interdimensional being, which a lot of us have come to the conclusion that it very well may be. But paranormal and UFOs are all intertwined in this great big mix as one. So we went out last week as a test just to see what we could conjure up and if an idea for a documentary like this could even work.
Mhm.
And while we were out, we hit a couple locations. We hit the TP Village, which is these huge 85-foot structures, 8-9 inch round pieces of wood tree that are 80 to 85 foot tall. The root balls are still attached, so either they fell down and something with great strength dragged them over, and put them in these TP fashion. So beautiful that you can walk on the inside, and it's not just one. It was like 70, 80 of these things throughout the forest. And I actually braced both my feet up in the air on this thing, and I was trying to yank one of them down just to see if I couldn't budge it. We even filmed it. I'm a 250-pound guy, and trying to pull this thing back with all my might, it wiggled, but it would not come out, and it was just laying there. It was
Mhm.
done. So in my mind and in the mind of others, something else did that. I don't want to say Sasquatch 100% because I didn't
Sure.
witness do it, but something with great strength or a machine put that together, one or the other. And I don't think the state would do it because a bad windstorm that'll knock down, and if anybody's walking in there, that's a huge risk. Somebody gets hurt, lawsuits. So I don't think the city or state would put structures like that freestanding up,
Mhm.
not secured. So anyway, we did this project and we hit the trifecta. We had paranormal activity, we had unidentified flying objects above us in the sky, orbs, and
Wow.
100% the standard noises that come in with Sasquatch: rock clacking, stick throwing, breaking. At one point, me, Mike, and Montauk and Strange were all facing east, just talking, looking at our equipment. And it's, how dead silent the woods can be, right? And
Mhm.
something stood up, not 3 or 4 feet behind us. It stood up so forcefully and turned and left that on the video we all say at the same time, "What the hell was that?" Because it was like right behind us, and we turned around to look. Not a leaf on a tree was moving, not a branch, whatever this monstrosity was behind us did not disturb the forest. It disturbed us because we heard it, and it was so loud. First thing came to mind was bear, but you would have definitely, at the rate we all turned around, you would have definitely seen a bear. There was nothing there. And we
Wow.
had a few incidents like that night. So again, being out there for this idea of Suburban Sasquatch and all that happened, we said, this is going to work. So let's put it together and let's do it. So we're going for the gusto.
Good deal. Good deal. So how soon are you going to be releasing this?
We're looking for 2024. We're not going to start filming for about, I'd say, 5 months or so from now.
Sure.
So we've got the really, really exclusive. So we're going to have to do, of course, another show when, this comes to fruition.
When it's released, right?
I'll tell you what, when this goes on the big screen, you guys will have first dibs. How's that?
All right. Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I have a friend who he just released his first documentary, and he said it took well over a year because by the time you edit everything and all that good stuff, so yeah.
Well, here's what I did. I was doing extraterrestrial. I started Extraterrestrial City, and then I had this guy that was introduced to me as a producer and a collaborator who could put all this together. And then, I'm like a month and a half in the project, and then I come to find out the guy's a bullshit artist. So I had to not only put that project to rest, but I don't even want to do it now because he's got all this information. The guy's like a grifter type guy, like my head that's destroyed. So get that out of the way. What I did was I have a director friend of mine by the name of Adam Richards. He played the Red Power Ranger on the TV shows and in the movies. He's also Steven Spielberg's action director. So I hired him to be the director and the cinematographer. He's going to come down with flying him in from London. He's going to bring these black magic cameras and all this high-end movie gear that you need to do a real cinematic full feature documentary. So we got him involved in the mix. And then my friend Rhiannon Alley, who works with Tom Reed from UFO Expo, Tom's going to be the assistant director, and Rhiannon Alley, her Sky Tribe Productions, will produce this project. Then, of course, it'll go to my friend Darcy Weir, and from there to Amazon, and the rest will be history. Hopefully, with the grace of God, the footage that we capture for the 2.5 months of filming will be more eventful than we went for that 1 week adventure. Maybe hopefully adding 2.5, maybe 3 months of filming, we can conjure up a lot of activity, and then once it's all edited and put together for the public, it'll just be awe-inspiring. That's our goal.
Very cool. Very cool. Look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.
I do too. And I got to tell you something about this too. You have had, again, Anthony covers everything, all the phenomena. We can talk about cryptids, aliens, UFOs. Now, right now, we're talking about Suburban Sasquatch. So to put together a documentary, throughout, it takes a lot of investigation, a lot of research, a lot of time and effort to put into this, and then getting a film crew and everything else. But prior, though, to that, to even come up with a documentary, you personally have to have some sightings, or you've had to have some experience in talking about this, because you just can't do this haphazardly without, just because you believe in Bigfoot, but with no experience. So what experiences have you had in your lifetime that has led you up to put this documentary together? Because I'm sure that you've come across the forest giant.
So here's the deal. 1993, I had my encounter. So from 93 till now, I'm involved in the game. Fully both feet in, we're talking like almost 25 years, working in the field, going out on all different kinds of excursions via UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, paranormal, missing 411, whatever it is. If it's strange and unidentified, I'm involved. Plus, I've had the honor and opportunity to work with some of the best in the field. I mean, of course, we had Andy Gambino, was my partner on a show. We worked with Eric from Paranormal Highway, Bron, Cosmic Neighbors, Long Island, Long Island Bigfoot, and the list goes on and on. And when you are working in conjunction with everybody, and this guy team, you got doing an investigation in Seattle, or this one's in Long Island, and this one's here, this one's there. You're traveling to Roswell. You meet all these interesting people, and you get to go out with them. And
Mhm.
I had so many strange experiences going out with Mike for my first official. We're getting dropped off in the middle of nowhere. We're gonna hike out for miles. When we did that, I filmed something on night vision in the middle of nowhere up in the Catskills, and I strongly believe that it was a Sasquatch, if not one, more than one, that were out 50 to 70 yards away from us, and it was standing in this gully, like this creek, and it just kept standing up and squatting down, standing up, squatting down, moving the tree, looking, and what the conclusion we came to was that it was trying to get a juvenile and the female across this creek, which was like 2.5, 3 feet deep, maybe like 100 foot across, thinking that we were hunters. Because me, like an idiot, I shined a laser pointer out there to show Mike where it was, which was, now that I think about it, was probably one of the dumbest things you could do. Because I'm lucky I didn't get charged or bluff charged or attacked or anything, but it all worked out. So we had that experience. And then I've gone out other times and didn't witness anything while I was out. But when I came home and looked through the footage, there were just things there that I couldn't explain that looked like head and up a torso behind trees and stuff like that. So I'm sure everybody, well, the vast majority of people that go out enough, they get things like that on the camera as well. Because we all know that these creatures are very, very elusive. That's why the theory that Ron Moore put forward, that they're interdimensional beings, it resonates with me a little bit more, because how could something so big and massive not be captured yet? It's impossible. We've bagged and tagged pretty much everything that's out in civilization, right down to the giant squid, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So hundreds of years of looking for this creature. How did nobody bag one yet? Is beyond me. So the only thing that makes sense is that it could very well vibrate in that interdimensional vibration realm and get itself to vanish. It could be right in front of you, but you just don't see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you bring up Ron Moorhead, and I've said this, as Krista knows, many times. The Quantum Bigfoot by Ron Moorhead, great book. If anybody
Mhm.
hasn't gotten that book, it
Yeah.
really breaks down, because when I've had Ron on twice,
Yeah.
and Ron was telling me, "Hey, Rob, 30 years ago, if I was young man and said, 'Hey, Ron,' and I started bringing up the interdimensional or portals in regards to Bigfoot, he said, 'Rob, I would have turned you around and sent you home, because you know what? It's a flesh and blood being.'"
Yeah.
Now, when I talk to him, I had him on maybe last year.
Mhm.
Now he has totally changed his mindset. Now, yes, he thinks there is a flesh and blood physicality to these things, as I do as well. But he
Mhm.
also says that these things, the way they can vanish and move, you can walk past one and not know it. But he
Right.
believes in that theory of the quantum mechanics about converting mass into energy.
Yeah.
You always hear stories about you seeing Bigfoot in front of you at a point. Then all of a sudden it's gone, and another person's seen it 5 miles away within a matter of seconds.
How do you
How
explain?
does that how do you explain that?
You can't.
Mhm.
Right.
You can't. You drive yourself mad thinking about it. Literally. It's you know, it, it- even UFOs. If we just jump in there for a second,
Yeah, go right, anything's open here.
trying to get a UFO to traverse the universe from point A to point B in a straight line is impossible. Same theory with them. They time jump, or they wormhole jump, or 1 minute they're here, 1 minute they're there. They're interdimensional travelers. It was explained that it may look like it's going in a straight line, but they're coming in and out of our reality so fast that it's actually like more like broken dots, instead of a straight line, because they phase in and phase out of reality so fast. They go from point A to point B to point C to point D, rapid succession, and they do the same thing. Same thing when it comes to paranormal, right? One minute there's nothing there, the next minute something's happening. Books are getting knocked off your shelf, or a glass is getting thrown. How? They're going from one realm, one plane of existence to another. So I think all three are interdimensionally traveling from one realm to another. And NASA breaks that down nice for us because they now say we have 11 different parallel dimensions. So we know they're in existence. It's not like we made parallel dimensions up. It's a real thing. And I guess they just know how to traverse it somehow. And we haven't gotten to that point yet.
You know, and when I first met Krista and Brandy, maybe I don't know how long it's been, Krista, maybe a year now, maybe. And
Mhm.
you know, I had my Bigfoot encounter. It looked like a human being, then it turned into a demon, and it was like just crazy, the metamorphosis. But the thing about it is, what I've learned now, reading Ron's book, talking with Ron, and talking to you, Anthony, about something that's 1,200 pounds, 9 foot tall. They've got all this massive energy, and now I'm a believer that mass, energy, frequency, right, intent, right. I think all of these things make up these creatures. And I don't really call them a creature. What I saw certainly was a creature in flesh and blood. But when you have that much power, that much weight, and you've been on this planet for thousands of years, I from a firm believe they've developed these and learned these things. Much like you and I can learn how to astral project, we can learn how to do remote viewing as human beings.
Mhm.
Why can't these creatures that have been here for centuries
Right.
do the same thing?
Right. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I think everybody, my thing is I recently had a Bigfoot encounter, and what I encountered was flesh and blood. I don't knock anybody else's encounters, that it if they feel that it's something different. It's just what I happened to encounter. I 100% believe Rob and what happened to him with his. How else could you explain it? Morphing. So
I believe the Egyptians tapped into this sacred knowledge. That's how they were able to move these giant stones. And if you come further down the line, there was a guy by the name of Ed Leedskin. I'm going to butcher his name, but he built Coral Castle in Florida.
mhm,
You can actually watch this guy levitate these gigantic block. And he was a little old, skinny man. And he was able to move these big metric ton pieces of coral stone by
mhm,
himself. So there's sacred knowledge hidden somewhere that very few people got to tap into. But eventually, as time goes on, we're going to be able to do that in the future too. We'll figure it out. Because I also believe that civilizations rise and collapse, and technology gets lost, and we have to restart all over again, not knowing the technology that we had prior. One day, God forbid, there'll be a cataclysmic event and we'll all be wiped out just like the dinosaurs. It's bound to
mhm,
happen again. And then the next humans, or whatever we're going to call them coming up, they're going to have to reconstruct civilization again, not knowing everything that we knew now. So
sure.
it always happens. It's history repeats itself. So
Mhm,
And you know, another fascinating thing, I think Krista, you and I saw this. I forget where I saw this already. Where a scientist took energy and frequency and bent stainless
yep.
steel. You
We
remember that,
watched.
Krista?
We sure did.
I
Yeah.
wow.
mean, how does that happen? And it was again, it was on YouTube.
Yep.
A scientist, I looked him up and he's been doing this for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, how in the world can you do that? Now, if you stop and think,
Yeah.
how do these phenomenon today do what they do, right?
Exactly.
We've got this technology. We as the human race has the technology.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you. No, again. Yeah. What we watched, Rob, that was, it was done with high EMF. So we had talked about that. I think that was one of the late night shows you and I did with Tex and Brandy. And
EMF, EMF
EMF will
strange.
mess.
Yeah, it will mess you up. It's strange.
Yep.
That and infrasound. is
Yep.
something else that I've been working with. And we had this infrasound speaker going at Tom Reed's UFO Park. We had a huge, I think it was like 1,000 watt or a 2,500 watt speaker
Mhm.
set playing this like different tones of infrasound. And on a clear night in the sky, all of a sudden the sky was just lighting up red and then
Mhm.
greens and blue. I mean, the whole sky in our area. We really think that the infrasound had something to do with the kinetic energy in the atmosphere, and it was making it
Mhm.
change somehow. So if you tap into they say if you tap into the right frequency with infrasound, you can call things in from the other side, from those other dimensions that we're talking about. I would love to figure that out.
Yeah, I would like to talk about that too and continue on with the show, but no, thanks for your second super chat. And we're
Thank
going to
you.
ask this question. Thank you so much, No, and we'll get all of our opinions on this. This question is this: maybe and which is really, if you think about this question, you guys, maybe the energy around us has gained its own consciousness or identity. Now he's asking for a friend. That's okay. No, we respect the question. I love the question.
I want to meet the friend.
You know.
He's got great questions.
Can you imagine energy having its own consciousness?
Anything's possible. I heard a scientist say one time, if you can think it, it's possible that it could happen or be put together. So it's very possible that that could be.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
gotta
that's the same
yeah,
thing.
go ahead.
I was going to say, like on the paranormal realm, like a poltergeist, that is energy that is manifested.
That's
It
right.
it does have its own consciousness. It does
Right.
things to people,
Yep.
but it's something that somebody creates themselves.
Right.
So
They manifested, which is
right,
crazy to think that you or I or Rob, that we can manifest something
right.
spiritually to move things or open things or break things, and it's
Hmm.
ourselves doing it. So if that's a fact,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Well, I
mind-boggling to even conjure up and think.
it is, and you can ask Krista, and this show is not about me, but you can ask Krista. I have manifested some things, and I've
Hmm.
practiced this. I've been practicing this for a long time, and this is a topic for another show. But I literally have manifested certain things that have
Hmm.
come to fruition. And I tell you what, though, I quit doing it because I got to talk to somebody with more experience. Because quite frankly, it scared the bejesus out of me, big
Yep.
time.
Well,
Yep.
I know what you're talking about, and I do this with the lotto. Believe it or not, you're gonna think I'm nuts, but literally, I constantly say to myself, "I'm gonna win. I'm gonna hit the number. I'm gonna win." And I literally say it 100 times a day. So, like all last week, I went and played the Take Five. I hit the $500 twice, 4 numbers, and then like I played like quick draw. 4 times in that 1 week, I posted it was either a $200 hit or a $100 hit, all with saying I'm gonna
Wow.
win, I'm gonna win. Now I've never won the big one. Like
Oh,
Rob said, I got to talk to somebody more advanced because I'm definitely not connecting somewhere, to win the big
Hmm.
one. I believe if you put forth out there that good things are gonna happen, good things come back. I definitely
Yeah,
do.
and I
I would.
think a lot of these things like karma, your personality,
Without
what
a
type
doubt.
of person you are,
Mhm.
um, and I think that it's relevant in today's life, and I think that if you have an open mind and open that, what do you call it, the third eye, the pineal gland,
Yeah, Glenn, yeah.
pineal
Mhm.
gland. Yeah, I always botch that
Say
up.
that
So
again. Say that again, Rob.
I'm gonna go with, let me think, pineal, or is it the penal? I always get shit for that. Sorry, but yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think as humans, I read somewhere that only like 8%. We only use 8% of our brain.
So they say.
Isn't that? So they say. I believe we can use a lot more, but the brain is something that I think these creatures, these cryptids, tap into way more than we do. But I think as human beings, we have that ability because I think, and I hate to say this, Krista says I have abilities, and I guess I believe her a little bit. But what is it? Indeed, I don't know because we can do anything. I can sum up a person in 2 minutes, under 2 minutes. I can know if they're good or bad.
There you go.
And but I thought Anthony, Chris, I thought everybody had what they call intuition. But I
Of course.
think mine's more on a higher level though.
we all have intuition. We all have that gut, that gut feeling. However, when you meet someone, that's a little different. In my book, not everybody, can tell if somebody has pure intentions or
Oh,
not.
I'm very good with that. I can read somebody real good. I don't know if it's from my former job that just working on the street and
Yeah.
Mhm.
learning how to read people, but like if I spend more than 5 minutes with you, I got a pretty good idea how things are going to
Mhm.
turn. Yeah.
And like you said, you could have been trained. I do believe people can be trained, but just your average Joe, isn't gonna doesn't know. That's why you meet people and they might backstab you or something. If you knew that in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, then you would never
Absolutely.
would have become friends with them. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. Rob, you do have it. You do. I mean, think about when you were a kid with that other kid.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Then I would focus back on Anthony's thing. But thank you. No, again, you're
Yes,
awesome. No,
thank
you're
you.
awesome.
You're
No, that's
rocking.
good, man. Thank you so much, brother.
No, Rob's
Yes,
a
sister.
great. Yeah, he's a great friend of the show, and I do appreciate. No, thank you so much.
Mhm.
And no, very intellectual as well. Leaves a lot of great comments, and I love
So,
his comments. So thanks again. No. So yeah, really quickly, Anthony. Then we'll revert back to Suburban Sasquatch. What
sure.
Krista was referring to was this kid growing up, 5 years old. And I, as a young man, young boy, told my mom and dad this kid Jimmy was evil. And they're look evil. What's a 5 year old saying the word evil? I said, I don't like him. You don't like him because he likes your brother when you play more than you. I'm like, well, not really,
Mhm.
but whatever. So I said, there's something wrong with him. And so grade school, again, I don't like this kid. Growing up throughout my entire life, 5 years old, 13 years old, 18 years old, and I went to college. I told all my friends to stay away from Jimmy. Not something right about him. And I remember in gym class, he was standing next to me. I got this very bad vibe about this guy. And I used the word evil, which again is if you call someone evil, you're really going out of your bounds. You should not call anybody evil unless you
Yeah.
have facts.
Yeah.
I have no facts, no facts whatsoever. That was my opinion or my thought process. I went away to college. I came home from college. My mom and dad said, Rob, remember the kid Jimmy that you would tell us he's evil? And we thought that you were just, jealous or whatever. I go, yeah, I guess he is evil, Rob. I go, why? He murdered his grandmother and is
Oh,
now in the state penitentiary.
Jesus.
And
Yeah.
I knew this for 22 years from 5 years old.
You had a
I
gut.
didn't think he was like going to kill somebody, but there was something that I
Knew
wanted no
something was
part of.
off. Yeah.
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 Mhm. Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
wild.
So, yeah. And that kind of took me for a loop and kind of scared me.
Yeah.
Um, and, but I've been able to pick people out
Mhm.
very, very easily. When we go back to Suburban Sasquatch, I mean, putting this documentary together, being a first timer, I don't. Is this your first film ever, Doc, or have
No.
you done something? Okay, so there's got to be a lot of work you put into this. I mean, how do you go about casting, finding your directors? Is it because you live in New York and everybody has a connection, or is it just really hard work?
I tell you, again, you got to give credit where credit's due. I
Yeah.
was very fortunate to become friends with Tom Reed,
Okay.
the Berkshire UFO incident. He owns UFO Expo TV, and he kind of took me under his wing and made me meet all the greats, and from there I built a network. And these people, I'm just hanging out drinking coffee, you get a phone call from Travis Walton or Mark D'Antonio, or
Yeah.
like you're like, I can't believe, or Jim Goodall, and you're like, I can't believe I'm talking to these people. I was watching them on the History Channel a couple of years ago when I
Mhm.
had no channel, and now we're buddies. So you build a network like that, and you get to go out with these people and do all these events, and then you learn how these people are. And learning how these people are, I picked who I believe are the right people to get this project off the ground and running. As far as casting goes, that's still happening. Granted, it's going to be done in Long Island. We're going to film this, so I got it.
I'm a wannabe actor, by the way. I'm a wannabe. Just saying.
Well, no, not even a wannabe, because this is going to have anything to do with acting. This is going to
Yeah.
be real deal in the
Yeah.
field scenarios and
Yeah.
real deal
Awesome.
reactions. No planned BS. I don't want no
Good.
fake and stage and shit. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I want people to really see what's going on out there.
Experiencers.
Right.
Yeah.
I want the skeptics to really see what's going on out there the same way we witness this stuff. So again,
Mhm.
Suburban Sasquatch, Long Island Bigfoot, that's his baby. That was his title. He really wanted to use that for like a really good documentary. And again, when we all went out and all these things were happening, when you put it together, UFOs, Sasquatch, paranormal, you get that trifecta in a suburban atmosphere, the puzzle piece just fit. And I'm like, Mike, let's do this. And I said, if we're going to do it, we're going to get the best we could afford in the business to come assist us with this. And right now we've allocated that much is done. As far as who's going to be in it, we're still going to have a meeting. Rob, your name came up like 6 times.
Oh,
Just saying. But
thumbs up.
again, it's in Long Island.
Yeah.
Whoever's going to
Of course.
be in it, they're going to have to meet us in Long Island to film this for at least a week minimum. But it's going to be a long process. We want to. You can't just go out one night and prove everything.
No, you can't. Well,
Sure.
which even goes back to you've been doing your research. You've been in this subject matter for a long time now with just Bigfoot, with other phenomena regarding UFOs, aliens, and probably even paranormal.
Yeah,
And I think, and again, not to give away too much of what you're putting together with Mike, I'm sure that there's going to be segmented throughout the film about just the Bigfoot, but then again, the associations with Bigfoot, the orbs we see in the forest. We
right.
see a UFO, and all of a sudden there is a Bigfoot, or there might be an alien presence. Did Bigfoot did it come down from a UFO? Did it evolve out of a orb? Did it evolve out of a still standing tree? There's
Right.
so many things that you can tap into here, which certainly a year, I tell you what, that a year is a short amount of time with all the
Mhm.
avenues that you can explore.
Oh
Am
yeah,
I right to say that?
absolutely, absolutely. But see, like, I want the real researchers, like that, the guys that are out there when it's pouring raining and you're soaking wet and it's raining cats and dogs and the investigation doesn't stop. You're out there to investigate. You don't care what weather conditions have. Those are the guys that I want, or girls,
Yeah.
to be involved in this
Mhm.
project. The die-hard people that don't care. They just want to solve the puzzle pieces. Those are the people I want involved in this one, because anybody could put a documentary together and put
Yeah.
it on Amazon and make you believe point A, point B, point C. No, I want you to physically see it. And then if
Mhm.
you physically see it, I want my team and I to try to debunk it for the skeptics to say, well, they showed it, but they didn't. They didn't try to debunk what just happened. No, we're going to do that all. I want to do that all. And I think we're gonna put together a very, very cool project here. And I think once it gets thrown up on the big screen, people are gonna be happy.
What I love about it too is you're not going to be having people, and I don't mean to be derogatory about certain shows that are like on actual television. You're not going to be out in the field with the Holiday Inn around the corner.
No, no,
You're
no.
going to be off trail, miles
Mhm.
into the wilderness where people don't want to go. Because
Right,
let's face it, when you're out researching, a true researcher, you're cutting down timber and brush. You're making your own trail. Now,
exactly.
granted, a lot of stories, a lot of encounters are of cryptids off trail, and
Mhm.
rightfully so. But if you are a researcher and you are dedicated to your craft or whatever your niche, you're going off trail where no man wants to go, because that's where these things are,
Right.
i-
Mhm.
in my opinion.
And we're not talking like going in the woods for 24 hours, camping out, 15-minute walk in, set up the tents, 15 minutes in.
Yeah,
Like we're talking about, we're gonna have to let the forest rangers know, we're gonna
we'll
be
be we'll be here for a month or 4
10
weeks.
miles, 15 miles in, and if somebody gets hurt, we're gonna be carrying them out. you know, with the with whatever we built to get them out of there with. You know, it's gonna be one of those type of deals. We're gonna be bringing FLIR drones and night vision drones, and I mean, we're talking to people with like all high end equipment, because if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it the right way. I want aerial views. I want not only area views, but I want it in FLIR and night vision. I want to be able to see what's a mile out, you know, and report back to my team. There's something a mile out. You go this way, you go this way. We'll meet up and try to box it in.
Mhm.
You know, I really want to use science and technology to try to solve this riddle once and for all.
I think the science, the technology, your own intuition, top three right there. And and another thing too is, what is your plans? Because this would be a big endeavor. And if you're going 10 miles off and you're going to tell the park rangers, what type of safety precautions are you going to have? Like, what do you call it? A tracker, a tracking device where maybe a person from home can monitor your position in
Well,
case, we've heard of the 411. We've heard of sometimes these things going wrong.
yeah, I've already thought about all of that. You know, what is it? The iDot. It's like a little chip you could drop in somebody's school bag and they could track you anywhere. The whole
Yep.
the whole production team will be getting one of those so we can track in real time on the cell phone. Because I tell you, it's happened to Mike and I. You're in the woods, somebody steps off, excuse my language, to take a piss. You turn
Yeah.
around, that guy's gone, and you don't know where the hell you are.
Mhm.
Without that little chip, device, you look on your phone, tells you where you were, which way you came. It literally shows you how to get home. So there'll be
Mhm.
devices like that we'll be using. And I'm even thinking, even though I'm trained, it would be nice to have a paramedic or an EMT
Yeah.
that comes out into the field with us for a couple days, just safety precaution reasons. It's gonna be when we do it, it'll be put together the right way.
Well, I'm sure it will be, because I can
Cool.
only imagine when you're out there and you got your crew together, let's say 10 people, just throw a random number, and all of a sudden, one morning you wake up and then there were 9.
Yeah, right.
That would be and I'm not, I know that was a
Thanks.
movie,
We're out.
uh-oh, what are we gonna do? Now you've gotta go on a rescue mission,
Right.
which of course, for the documentary. And if we were to find the person, because maybe they walked through a portal in the woods. Because a lot of times too, we could be walking a trail. You hear these stories all the time. Person
Mm,
walking through a trail. It's always the last guy too, right? It
yeah.
seems they veered off trail and they end up missing,
Mhm.
because I think there's things
You got
out
a lot.
there, portals, wormholes in the forest, that if I believe they're there, and I believe that we inadvertently can walk into them.
I would have to agree with you on that. I think it's very possible. Few and far between that it happens, but I do believe it
Oh
does
yeah, oh, few for
happen.
sure. There's millions of hikers out there that, but then again, when you read the 411, a lot of this stuff doesn't make heads or tails. Thank you,
Right.
Anella, for the awesome super chat. Love you.
Um,
Yes, thank you very much.
thank you. I'm really, but again, I'm overjoyed that I get to work on a project like this. I even made the movie poster for this myself. I wrote the synopsis for, like, what it's going to be about. I'm so involved from every aspect of it. Like, this is a passion project. I'm in love with okay, let me put it to you this way. When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I love what I do. And the people that I do it with love what they do, and they're just as passionate about it as I am. And when you have a team of people that collectively are in it to win it, and 100% on board and 100% passionate about what you guys are doing to accomplish a common goal, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be
Mhm.
phenomenal.
And you have the right team when you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's pouring down rain and your tent is getting blown over, your canopy is getting blown over, and the people that you're with aren't bitching and moaning. They're kind of laughing it up and say, "Yeah, this is what it's all about." They're getting wet,
Mhm.
they're getting dirty, their boots on the ground, and that's really the team you want to put together.
Yes, sir. I had Mike and we were in TP Village in Long Island, and when I tell you, it was pouring raining. The rain was just above, like, the water depth was just above our knees in some locations. We were saturated. We didn't care. We were out there for like 6 hours, uh, trying to figure everything in the pouring rain. And that, to me, my friends, is true blue investigating. That's the way it's done. Because Bigfoot or any other forest being, they don't stop because it's raining out. They're not gonna, not try to make contact or whatever they do, forage, whatever. Their day don't end because it rains. That's us. The fit for see human beings, not them.
True. Very true. So are you going to film it you said in New York?
We're going to film it in Long Island.
Long Island.
In multiple locations. So one location, just off the top of my head, thinking like the Camp Hero section, Montauk section. We're thinking like TP Village. We're thinking that maybe the Bamboo Forest. There's going to be a couple different locations. Basically, we're going to pull out a map of the best sightings that have ever reported in that state, and we're going to overlay it with a map, and we're going to try to correlate where the most sightings were, and then we'll chart out 3 or 4, maybe 5 locations, and we'll focus on that. But after a team meeting or whatever, it may break down to 2 or 3 locations. Try to focus all our attention in those areas and do it. And one team will go to location A, another to B, another to C, and then we'll rotate. A will go to where B was, B will go to where A was to see, what our experiences were in that location as well. And I think that's how we're gonna do it.
Gotcha.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're gonna figure it out. I can tell. I know it's gonna be a quality venture by you and your team. And of course, shout out to Long Island Mike. Subscribe to his channel as well, Long Island Bigfoot Mike.
Yeah.
So I know that Lily dropped the link for him as well. A great guy. Hey, let me ask you. I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but you're overall with the years you've been looking into this phenomenon. What does your gut tell you? I know we've talked about the Ron Moorhead, we've talked about paranormal, this and that, but your gut feeling, if you had to sum up Bigfoot, Sasquatch, right now, what would your definition be?
Interdimensional traveler would have to be where. If it was a regular, I do believe it's a flesh and blood being, but I believe that it just interdimensionally travels. I do not believe it's from Earth per se. And if it is from Earth, it's one of the oldest civilizations from Earth that learned how to interdimensionally travel. I know that sounds weird to some people, but when you're in the woods and something massive stands up behind you and you turn around and there's nothing there, there's no explanation for where it went. Or when you're watching something on night vision with your own 2 eyes for 15 minutes right in front of you, and then all of a sudden you're like, come here, check this out. And you turn around and it's gone without a sound. There's no explanation for that. The only thing I could come up with, interdimensional. And I really think it has to be an interdimensional traveler. No? Would you agree?
Really quickly, thank you, Amy, for the super chat. I will give you my take on that. I think that when you said interdimensional traveler, I'm thinking, time travel and human beings. I'm thinking aliens. But I will say this. I think that, and then again, I've talked to so many people. I mean, you have too, Anthony. There's First Nations people will call them ancient humans, and they don't even associate that with it, a creature. And I don't even like using the word creature, or a hominid, an ancient hominid, or a creature that has both human and animalistic characteristics. Me personally, I think it's a flesh and blood creature,
right?
That has innate abilities because it's been here for thousands of years that it's developed. I kind of believe in the quantum theory, much like you do, that I think that there are some you can shoot and bleed, but I also think they have that ability to get out of the situations via converting mass into energy and just traveling.
Yeah.
So does that make it a flesh and blood? See, it's so when you say it's a flesh and blood, but with paranormal abilities, it's such a cop out answer to me. And I can't, it is because I can't, it's why I've been doing this. Why I love doing this subject matters. I can't give you a finite answer, right?
Me
I
neither.
think that, you know what? I'm not even out of the question of maybe aliens put them here. Maybe they're actual aliens from another planet. That's a possibility. You have the ancient people. A lot of people will disagree. And the only flack that I normally get with people is I don't call them the friendly forest giant that evolved and they're just a creature of the woods. It has nothing to do with, and they're not spiritual at all. You talk to First Nations, they have a spiritual. They see them only as light or energy. They see them as transparent. But what I saw, my man, I could have shot a gun at it. It would have bled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's I always ask people that because it's a question that there is no one answer. And I believe everybody's theories and opinions, especially from people that have had an experience. Krista's just had an experience. I've had one. You've had one. And they all range from paranormal to being a monster. And it's always a loaded question. But I tend to side with you 80% of it.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea. However, it wasn't what I witnessed, and I have friends who are more in the flesh and blood camp, and they, when I've talked about different things that I've heard happening to people, they come back with solid scientific answers. So, am I open to it? Yes. But then, however, doing the paranormal for so long, we always go in looking for a reasonable explanation, as like the EMF and things like that. So that side of me, goes back to the scientific side. However, do I believe these people? Heck yes, I believe these people. It's just nothing that I personally have witnessed, if that makes sense.
We are coming up on the 2-minute break. I want to leave you with this thought because I talked to I've been doing the show for 2 years, but I've been looking into this for 5. I talked to a First Nations person that swore up and down. I talked to him on the phone. This is about 3 or 4 months ago. That believes that Sasquatch is a interdimensional spiritual being where he had communication with the Sasquatch. And I'm not talking telepathy. It dwarfed itself, made himself small, the Sasquatch, and walked literally through the walls of his house and sat in his living room and had a conversation about the history. It's a story that I have yet to put out there because I still have to investigate this story. So, again, food for thought on that. We have to take the 5-minute break. Anthony Esemplare.
Yes, sir.
Unidentified S4. Subscribe on YouTube. His movie coming out, his documentary coming out in a year or so. Suburban Sasquatch. We'll get the exclusive when that comes out. 5-minute break. Thank you to everybody. We will be back. Go get your beer, your popcorn, your pop, whatever you got to do.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Fantastic show. Suburban Sasquatch coming out in a year or so with Anthony from Unidentified S4. Please subscribe to Anthony if you have not already. Fantastic show. Before we get rolling on with the second half, thank you for the super chats. No, 3 times. A Spiritual Odyssey. Aniella and Amy. The super chat is a great way to support us, what we do around here. It is very appreciated by myself, by Krista, our entire team. Thank you ever so much for that. Very much so. Thank you. Don't forget, we've got the shows throughout the week. On Mondays is Texas Front Porch. Text comes on at 9 o'clock in the East on Monday. Tuesday, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, my nighttime show at 9 in the East on Tuesday. Wednesday, the Diva Dimension. You can find her at 10 in the East on Texas Front Porch. Thursday, Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, and Krista, 1 in the East. Thursday, tonight at 9 in the East, is the Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal Podcast. They come on at 9 in the East. And if you need more woo with the booze, Friday nights, the Blondes, the Booze, the Woo, 9 in the East. Friday, Texas Front Porch. Saturday at 3 in the afternoon. Infamous Minds, it's true crime. Go check out Tex. That's a fantastic show if you are into true crime. My friend Jessica Jones is on Spaced Out Radio Saturday and Sunday, 10 o'clock in the East. She is, of course, the Cryptid Huntress. Subscribe to her on YouTube. She has 2 shows during the week as well. And don't forget, Bigfoot Mr. Rob's book, Bigfoot Mr. Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1. It's on Amazon. The link is in my YouTube profile or whatever you want to call it. thanks to those of you that have purchased it. I do appreciate that. And if you do buy it, when Amazon sends you the email, leave a review and be honest. Right now, I'm currently at 5 stars, but hey, if you only think it's worth 4.5 stars, give it 4.5 stars. Thanks for the purchase. Love you all for that. Again, I appreciate everybody's support. And I do notice a lot of new people in chat here today. Please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Texas Front Porch, Unidentified S4 on YouTube. I greatly appreciate that. We have a fantastic show. And I'm going to bring up Krista and Anthony here.
Mhm.
Hey, Krista.
Hey.
Anthony, thank you, man. Fantastic show.
Pleasure.
I see you dropped something here that I'm going to put up right away because I'd also want to talk about something else before the show ends. Again, Suburban Sasquatch, you dropped me something here. I'm going to pull
Just
this
a movie
up.
poster.
It's the movie poster, which I do have on the page, but I am going to pull it up for you. I'm going to show it. Here we go. Add to it. Yeah, Suburban Sasquatch. Look,
Wow.
that looks like it was. That
That's
looks
a
like.
copy. Let me take-
Yeah, well, yeah. The
Yeah.
one I put is a little clearer, but it looks like if I went into the movie theater, I would see that. So that's pretty cool. I love that.
Yeah, it looks scary.
Yeah,
It'd get my attention to watch for sure.
Yeah, well,
I kind of made him transparent where you can see the trees through him again,
Mhm.
like an interdimensional being of sorts.
Sure.
That's
and again, you asked me the question what I thought, and I gave my 2 cents, and I was all over the place in my description because I got to be honest with everybody listening. When it comes to Sasquatch, Bigfoot, cryptids, I am all over the place because I talk to so many people, Anthony, Krista, and everyone listening. I can't tell you. I've seen something in the woods and I still don't know what the hell I'm looking at. And that's why I enjoy doing the show, doing the research and talking to great people like yourself. But I like to turn the table a little bit. And this is kind of old news, but Anthony, on your show, you've done some fabulous work.
Thank you.
With the aliens in Mexico. Now we've seen the bodies. Some people say fake, CGI, whatever. And you had, I think, at one point, buddy, I think you had 100,000 views when you put out a show some time back when the news broke.
500,000.
500,000. That's fantastic. Congratulations. And for people that don't know much about that, and I'm sure most of the people do, what's your take on this whole Mexico thing?
Whew. All right, I'll break this down in a nutshell. Jaime Maussan, the ufologist from Mexico, who's the biggest name in Mexico. Maussan TV's been doing this forever. He has so many red flags attached to him for hoaxing and staging stuff in the UFO community that his name's tarnished. We all know that. He broke out these alien mummies in 2017. They weren't found by an expedition team. They weren't excavated or exhumed. No, grave robbers brought them to sell to Jaime Maussan. In 2019, my friend and director Darcy Weir was working on the project with Jaime Maussan for Gaia TV. And while that was happening, the two of them sitting down, it was explained how they recreated the being known as Maria. That's the one that's like all folded up with the long 3 fingers. And it's actually multiple mummies rearranged to make it look like this alien mummy. They cut the fingers all the way down to the wrist. They amputated the thumb and the pinky to make it look like that long 3 finger. Same thing with the toes. And then they covered it in this plaster. So you're literally seeing a Paracas skull, elongated skull, and you're seeing another mummy body attached. And that's how that one was created. Same storyline went with the little guys. They took dog bones and cut the skull off a chihuahua and then implanted another skull, and they did pottery work to it, and then they coated it. Now, last week, they're independently testing in hospitals in Mexico. But again, you have to say to yourself, well, we already know the whole hoax story. We've seen how it was done. Are they really independently testing in hospitals in Mexico, or did they pay doctors in private facilities to put on a show? Because we all know that that shit happens too. So we're waiting to find out what's what. If I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring, I'm gonna have to say that I'm like 85% that they're fake.
Mhm.
You know, again, I'm newer to that side of the field, and when I seen these things, the pictures, anyways, I'm like, okay. I mean, I have an open mind, and I believe aliens exist. That there's no doubt
Without
in
a
my
doubt.
mind. But I was like, man, they looked like too perfect to me. And again, I don't want to be the guy that says you get that perfect Bigfoot picture or video that is fake. So I'm not going to go that route. But the
Right.
information that you provided on your show does kind of it brings it to it makes it more sensible, more logical to your theory and your thoughts on that when you did this show. In fact, I think you did that show live from Mexico on your channel live, did you not?
Yes.
That's the one I
Yes.
was talking about getting all the views.
We were the only channel that, well, first of all, it was us and Christina Gomez and Jimmy Church doing it, but
Yeah.
I was the only channel that was giving it to you in English in real time,
Yeah.
which blew us. I think we had like almost 1,500 people in the live chat. It was like insanity.
Is it? But that
Mhm.
well, big hat in the cap for that one though. Feather in the cap, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Scott Marion says, "Why do they look so human?"
Well, of course, if you wanted somebody to believe that there was another creature that came into our souls as an alien vis-a-vis, you would want it to look more like us, because it's easy to fake something bipedal. Let's just put it that way: 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head. How difficult would it be if you had to make that with 2 heads and 4 legs and a weird tail? It just wouldn't. You wouldn't buy it. And we all know the little gray aliens that been talked about since the beginning of time. That's what they tried to sell you. And then they tried to sell you Maria, the alien. They nicknamed it as another species of alien because allegedly there's hundreds of these species of aliens, so they say. But if you want, Rob, I'll drop this down here. It's on an MP4. This is
Sure.
the newest what's coming out, what I was just explaining to you about these aliens.
All right, I'll put it up here.
These little guys from last week, well, these so-called alien corpses have now undergone lab testing. Yep, that's right, they've had a full CT scan and X-rays. The bodies were presented to Congress in Mexico last week by a self-proclaimed UFO expert named Jaime Maussan. He claimed they had been discovered in Peru in 2017 and were 1,800 years old. His presentation went viral, with many calling the bodies aliens. The so-called corpses have been tested by Jose de Jesus Zalce Benitez, reportedly a military doctor and
Same
forensic
guy
expert,
that
who
was-
says the specimens each belong to a single skeleton and have not been manipulated. But the findings have been widely disputed by scientists. Last week, a NASA scientist responded to the news and urged the men to
make samples available to the world scientific community, and we'll see what's there.
Okay, so with that being said, the doctor that was showing you the alien that they were doing independent testing, he's the same doctor that was at the event telling you that it was real there. And now all of a sudden, this is supposed to be independent testing at a medical facility, and it's the same doctor from the UAP hearing telling you that it's real again. No, I want an independent doctor from another country to come in that has nothing to do with your team, your staff. They don't even know who you are. That's independent testing. To me, that looks like a sideshow, a side circus is what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
You know?
Yeah. And here's the thing, people faking, number one, your credibility is everything doing this, and number two, it just really, puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I don't care what camp you're in, as far as faking this stuff. I can't fathom that.
There's no need to fake it. There's so much out there. And if you just went out and did the work and spend the time
Mhm.
under the stars or in the woods or in these paranormal locations, something is going to happen at some point. And if
Right.
you're prepared and you have the willingness to and the fortitude to do it, do you get it? It will happen. There's just
Mhm.
I like cutting corners, unfortunately, and that makes it bad
Sure.
for everybody. Like what they did there in Mexico made it bad for everybody because the United States government finally came out after all these years of fighting with them, and they started telling us that our fighter pilots are having dog fights with extraterrestrial craft, and we're catching them on the radar, come from space to ocean level and back to space in the blink of an eye, right? And we're like, wow, even my parents were like, holy shit, you were right. You were right since you told us what happened to you when a kid. You this is really happening.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really happening. But then you get these idiots that pull a stunt like that and they ruin it
Sure.
for everybody. If you go back to my show when I aired that Mexican UAP hearing, the first words out of my mouth while we were waiting for the whole thing to start was, I pray to God Jaime Musan doesn't wheel out the fake little alien puppet mummies.
Hmm.
And 3 hours later, that's exactly what he
That's
did. I
exactly.
called it. I knew it was going to happen. So,
That sends everybody's research back.
forget it.
You go one step forward and you take
It's 100
three
back for him.
steps back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
1,000.
that set us back to the ice age of ufology, what he did. It's such a shame.
It is a shame because there are many people out there that want to believe, and it doesn't matter what genre. It could be Bigfoot, aliens, UFOs. And if
Mhm.
let's say you're on the fence and you're like, yeah, I think maybe these phenomenon exist.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they see something like that. And you know what that does, unfortunately? The person on the fence now reels it in and says, this is not real. These are hoaxing. These are people 15 minutes of fame. They want to make a quick dollar.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, in what we all do collectively, it's hard enough for us to do what we do. And then somebody comes up and puts a monkey wrench in once we got it going, especially
Right.
when you start getting positivity rolling forward. You ever know there's peaks and valleys where you'll have people, a group of people that are now really on board, and they were the skeptics. Now, again, healthy skepticism, I highly approve of, right? But
Yeah.
then if you are one of these people and you see something like this, they stop watching our shows, they stop giving up on the entire phenomenon altogether, and it makes it that much harder for us. Because let's face it, what we do with our channels, our shows, we are the minority,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And when we try to drive our shows and when you have people that come across this, it hurts everybody. But most importantly, forgetting about the shows, it impedes these researchers to dedicate their entire life searching.
Yeah.
Right.
The legitimate people. This really hurts them and takes away from their credibility.
It does. It does. And now that's why I put the offer out there. Like every time I go out and go under the stars and I'm gonna film, I take a bunch of people with me. So nobody could ever turn around and say, it's doctored, it's BS. No, I have
Mhm.
8, 10 people out there with me with night vision looking at the same thing that I'm looking at. And it's sad that I have to do that today,
Mhm.
but the way things are, you're better off having people with you, to back you up.
Sure.
For those of you just tuning in, that's cool. The replay is available because the first half of the show we talked about Anthony from S4, Anthony Unidentified S4 on YouTube, Suburban Sasquatch's documentary coming out probably in 12 to 16 months or whatever. Go check it out. We talked about that the first half of the show. We kind of spun it out, talking little aliens and in Mexico. But let me ask you this, Anthony. I know that I do faithfully watch your show, and you've got a lot of cool videos about all these things in the sky moving about. I mean, darting about the sky watching. And I seen you and Long Island Mike had one just the other day. For like me, I look in the sky. I do make it a point. I've never seen anything in the sky, but how am I to ascertain when you see a light in the sky that's moving and it's not an airplane? but it's moving at a nice speed. It's going from point A to point B within seconds. How do I know that's not like a satellite? How do I know it's not Elon Musk fooling around? How do I know that it's an asteroid, or how do I know that it might be a possible UFO? Is there any way you could educate me on what am I looking at?
100%. Great question. And I'm glad you asked. Yeah, I have a ton of apps from Radar Tracker, Satellite Tracker, Elon Musk Starlink Tracker. If there's a tracker for it, and you can even track asteroids now, we have it. So when I have a team with me and somebody's got the camera to the sky and they're locked on it, I got the guy next to me on one app, the other guy on another app. Tell me where the closest satellite is. Where's the closest plane? Are there any unmanned aerial vehicles in the area? Meaning people with drone licenses. You can actually see where drones are up now. We go through all of it. So, for example, I'll pull this up here, and this is the one that you were talking with Mike and I that we caught the other day. There's no audio because it's an MOV file. But this was while we were on a Sasquatch hunt investigation in Long Island. And these objects are just flying around in the sky. And they are not satellites. They are not on the satellite charts. Now, they could be like top secret military satellites, because a lot of spy satellites aren't issued a number for you to log and see its exact location because they're top secret. Could it be one of them? Yes. But for the information that we have, these are the UFO. They are unidentified flying objects. We can't find them registered with anything. So this was not on any satellite chart, any plane chart, unmanned aerial vehicle chart, none of that. And there's 3 of us witnessing this in real time. And if that's not strange enough that there's one, more of them start coming in to this one. I think we had like a total of 4 or 5 come in, all passing each other. There's another one right above it coming in now. And this is what happened while we were out doing Bigfoot. And it's strange.
Wow.
That's great stuff. Just make sure that when you get when the copyright strike comes, that you approve it, so I don't.
I would never
copyright strike. I know you would.
I
know you would. I'm always leery about putting up other videos, but
use anything. I'll say it here for YouTube. Rob can use anything off my channel that he wants. He has carte blanche. Krista too.
Yeah, thank you. Because,
they're up there, and if you spend the time to look with the right equipment, you will definitely see things.
So let me ask you: when you've gone out, you go outside of New York as well. When let's say we're talking about sky watching or looking for UFOs or whatever. I don't like using UAP because when I hear UAP, I just think man-made. I mean, that's my opinion.
Well, UAP is the new nomenclature that the military threw out there to try to confuse everyone. Why UFO? It'll always be UFO to the old school UFO.
Yeah,
UAP
exactly.
Is just, like I said, the new nomenclature that the military's used, and it's more a military terminology than civilian. But it's just dumb. There was no need to name it UAP. They mean the same thing: unmanned aerial phenomenon or unidentified flying object. They change it to phenomenon because they don't know what the damn object is, so they added phenomenon to it, opposed to unidentified flying object. They don't know if it's something flying in our atmosphere or something interdimensionally traveling, or did it come through a wormhole? They don't know. That's why they added the phenomenon to it. Anomalous phenomenon.
Wow.
Yeah, this might sound like a dumb question. I live in a city. I mean, I have to go 150 miles north to get some beautiful blue sky out in the forest. But if I was, looking in my backyard up in the sky, is there certain areas though where you need to go to see these things? I'm going to tell you right now, because I do look, especially over the last year. At nighttime, especially, I really do make a conscious effort to look up. And again, I can never see nothing. Does it make a difference on the geography where you're at? I mean, to pick out these things like up north, if I go 500 miles to the UP, where it's nothing but you can see a million stars. To me, that's a place to go. But if you're, a city dweller and you're interested in the subject, are you more or less apt to see something like this, or does it not
No,
matter?
no, it doesn't matter. I would suggest going to a location where there's low light pollution. So for me, my house is on the beach. So, the city street lights, I get away from that. I go on the beach where it's just total darkness, and I film. And even there's still light pollution coming from the street, but it's down enough to where I can see. But I usually pick like Orion's Belt is a nice location for me to film, just because for me, I see an abundance of stars here on Staten Island in the Orions in the Milky Way region of the sky. I don't see stars like you see them up in Pennsylvania or Vermont or Berkshire. I don't have that luxury. So for me, I have to pick the spots where there's abundance of stars and no light pollution. But if you live in an area where the light pollution's so low that, you could just pick a spot, set up,
Right.
your camera's there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you're going to catch something that passes.
Absolutely.
You
Mhm.
get the time stamp and north, south, east, west, located, latitude, longitude, and you put that in those apps. And was there anything there at this time? And if it says no, well, then you got something.
Mhm.
You got something that merits further investigation.
I also heard from a friend of mine. She's into the big CE5 thing, and she said to watch the Big Dipper as well because you see them come in and out of there too.
Yeah. Again, there's no rhyme or reason where they're coming from. It's not like, oh yeah, they live in the Big Dipper. You got to look there. They live in Orion's Belt. You got to look. No, we don't know where they, why or what the rhyme or reason is. We haven't figured that out yet. However, CE5 has been around since the beginning of time. It's only meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. Dr. Greer, Stephen Greer, was the smart one that coined the phrase for it,
Right.
to make himself a millionaire off it. But
Of course.
it's meditation. All you're doing is meditating and putting a thought into the universe that I'm here and I want to witness it. It's like a mantra that you say over and over and over again. Who you are, what your intentions are, and what your location is, and what you want from them. And it's really a meditative practice more than anything, is the way I look at it. I've done it myself to relax and get myself calm and in a good head. But as far as, is it going to work? Well, I'll tell you this. The people that swear by CE5 are going to tell you it works because they do it all the time. And then if they see something in the sky, it was CE5. But I could give you just as many people that don't do CE5, and I bet you the outcome is exactly the same number-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if you need to get in that Zen state, CE5 might work for you, but it's not necessary.
Yeah. Agreed.
Those joining,
My personal.
Go ahead, Krista.
I was going to say when I just had the same friend. We were at Malvern Manor. It was a haunted location up in Malvern, Iowa. And we went outside about midnight to do the skies with the laser. And I had no idea, my perspective of a UFO was, this triangle shape down low. I had no idea. She's like, watch, and sure enough, like she would circle what looked like a star 2 times and it would blink twice at us. And then she would do it 3 times and it would blink 3 times at us. So that was totally an eye-opening experience for me.
And how amazing was that for you to even witness something like that?
Yeah, I just never paid attention. My misconception of what a UFO looks like was, what you see on TV and things like that. I didn't realize, you're actually looking for, they look like stars at first,
Right. And that's the problem. Most people walk around looking at their feet. They don't walk around and looking up at the sky like, hey, what's going on? What's this object? What's that? Everybody's so focused on their cell phone today. That what's above doesn't interest anymore. If you took the time to look away from your phone and look at the stars, you would witness those things. I do have one of those for you, Krista. Here's one of those triangular craft we captured.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And it's hauling ass.
That's really cool.
And it picks up the nose and it changes out.
Oh, you can see that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Correct. And there's no FAA lights on it.
No.
It's
That
turning.
thing's moving.
Oh, it's booking. It's booking.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it just kind of fades away there at the end there.
Yeah,
Again,
that's great footage.
no, thank you. No FAA lights on it. So
Mhm.
everything
Look
our
at that.
military has, even if it's a drone, and if
And
it's,
look at this right at the end. Boom. It's getting ready to disappear.
yep.
Boom. Gone. Well, a little flicker of it in the background.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow, that is.
Well, thank you for that, man. That's awesome. I tell you what, that's some cool footage. You know,
Mhm.
you're talking about the Big Dipper, and I don't know if they're still in chat, but Midwest Night Watchers, Gerald and Jane, they've got some cool video of objects
do.
flying. Because Krista, you mentioned the Big Dipper flying
Mhm.
in and out. And in
Yeah.
fact, I think all of us in a couple of weeks are going to be on their show. We're doing a big panel
Yeah.
on that
Oh, cool.
for Midwest Night Watchers.
Check-
Anthony, you know, we got about 4 minutes. And now I know that you've seen or have evidence of Bigfoot and in the forest. Of course, your documentary, Suburban Sasquatch, everybody. If you're joining late, watch the replay. We discussed that in the first half of the first hour of the show. And I know you had some other phenomenon, but when it comes to aliens and all your boots on the ground investigations you've done, have you seen anything that comes close to an alien that you thought, well, this ain't no Bigfoot, this ain't no ghost? So have you come up upon anything where you questioned, what am I looking at exactly?
I'll still to this day say it was a dream
Okay.
that felt just so real. But yeah, I have seen beings with these heart-shaped heads, and I had an artist draw the whole thing and the whole experience that I had. But I can't definitively say that it actually happened, because I remember going to sleep in my bed, and then I woke up on my couch, just sitting up, like with my head in my lap, and I remember my arm was in so much pain. And in this dream state that I was in, they drilled through my shoulder, and I smelled the burning and the bone, and like I really physically felt all that pain and smelt and the surroundings, and it all felt so real. But then I woke up on my couch and I was fine. I was freaked out, but I was fine. So if that was an abduction experience, then it happened. But I'm still to this day going to say that it was just a horrible nightmare. And that was like the closest I've come to believing I've seen one up personal. Aside from that, it was just craft that I had very, very close to me that I've witnessed.
Gotcha.
You know, we got a couple of minutes left. Anthony, tell everybody listening and watching in chat. Thanks to everybody in chat. Where can we find you and so on and so forth? Social media and stuff.
Well, you can find me in my basement that I've turned into a studio here.
I like that. By the way, you looks like you're commandeering a craft yourself.
Right.
No, yeah, you can find us on Unidentified S4. We are now on KGRA Radio. We just got put on with them with Bill Forte. We'll also have the podcast on Spotify, Amazon, Google. We're on TikTok. We just hit like 116,000 followers on TikTok, so that's chugging away nicely. And YouTube, of course, is pulling in nicely. So again, thank you to everybody that comes to check us out. Not everybody's favorite flavor of coffee, but I guarantee you we have something that you'll enjoy. So when you get a chance, if you want to come check out a show, we're live Wednesday, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I will say this too about Unidentified S4. It's not just ufology and alien. You're branching into, again, Suburban Sasquatch, the documentary here, and let's just say 12 to 16 months. So your channel is kind of evolving like I'm trying to do. You talk about everything. There is flavor for everybody. So I do highly recommend the channel. And thanks for coming on. And I did, before we go, I did want to thank No 3 times super chat.
Yeah, thank you.
A Spiritual Odyssey, Aniela and Amy, for your tremendous super chats. A great way to support what we do. I appreciate it. Krista does. So does Anthony.
Absolutely.
And Krista, what do you have going on the Blondes and Booze tonight?
Tonight we have Robbie Rains and Greg Ogles, and We're going to be it's just an open forum. Robbie Raines, he co-hosts with DA and DA Ex Machina, and then Greg Ogles. We're all kind of friends together, and Greg is going to talk about more on his Legend of Downey Booger documentary that he recently put out, and then his upcoming projects.
Awesome. Rob, if I may real quick, I just wanted to, again, just thank Mike, Long Island Bigfoot, because he's my partner on this project.
Yes.
And really, if it wasn't for Mike bringing me out in the field and making me become the believer that I always knew I was, but actually get me out there, and he taught me what I know. I owe that man everything when it comes to the world of Sasquatch, and he's become a dear friend and brother, and I'm so happy he and I are doing this project together, and it's going to be fantastic.
And I do know that the lovely Lily Pond did put Mike's Long Island's link in our chat as well. Thanks, Lily, for that, because I do follow Mike as well. I love what he puts out. Very entertaining, but at the same time educational. So that is awesome. And don't forget, everybody, Bigfoot Mission Rob, a lot of new people. Please subscribe if not already. I do appreciate the Blondes and Booze, Anthony's channel. And don't forget my book, Bigfoot Mission Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1. You can find that on Amazon. The link is also in my on my YouTube channel, my YouTube page for that. So with that being said, thank you to Anthony. Thank you to my lovely Krista. We will be back. And for both of you, we are officially out.
See ya.